So you want to see that wide open mouth, and we can help you look for that. We want to see the lips flared. We kind of call it, I call it the special K flare. You know, on a special K, how that K looks like that. You don't want to see one like this. You want to see it nice and wide like that. You want to see the chin buried in the breast instead of the nose. That's another reason to hold them back like this. And we encourage you to hold them on the nape of their neck as opposed to the back of their head. If you hold them on the back of their head, it tends to, I mean, if you were trying to eat somebody's going to eat, you'd be like, stop. So you want to sort of get, and plus they have tender heads from laying on your pelvic bone possibly. So we encourage you to hold them below their head here. Hold them on the back of their neck. The nipples should be on the roof of the baby's mouth. The baby has a strong sucking instinct right on the roof of their mouth. So anything you put on the roof of their mouth, they tend to, so that's what the nipple's for. You want breast tissue on the roof of their mouth. That's what triggers that sucking instinct. That's what they mean by asymmetric. It means it's not in the middle of the mouth, it's on the roof. So how do you know your baby's getting something to eat? Babies have little suck, swallow, breathe patterns. In the first few days, you want to see them nursing about 10 or 15 sucks in a row before they swallow. If you had a gallon of milk on the first day, they would suck, swallow, choke. So you have smaller amounts of milk at first. So you want them to do about 10 of these in a row, and then they stop and swallow and rest. And then they go again. And that's what you want to see them doing. You don't really want to see them doing this little kind of flutter sucking like this for the entire nursing. That's really more hanging out and playing. But that's okay too. You just really want to see them doing this rhythmic suck, swallow, breathe pattern. The short pauses is after they swallow. You want to start listening for swallows. It sounds like a silent K. They'll go suck, 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 suck. Suck, 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 suck. That's what swallows sound like. You want to see them start to relax their arms and hands. Your baby's going to be nursing like this at first with their hands like this, and you keep moving them so you can see what they're doing, and they're going to do like this, and pretty soon they're going to start relaxing like this, and you can move their arm around this like this, and it's sort of a limp noodle. That's when you know they're definitely getting tired. You want to see their mouth, their membranes being moist. And a big one is keeping an output count. We really like for you to keep a diary of how much your baby's eating and peeing and pooping. That's very important because you don't want to have to remember all that in your head. And we look at it over a 24-hour period is the appropriate amount of time that we want you to look at. And so we've got some numbers here for you on that. The mother knows that she's transferring milk because a lot of times people feel like, well, I haven't leaked, you know, and I don't feel my letdown, or what does that feel like? And that there's a lot of variance in that between mothers. But you do want to start to feel, your breasts will start feeling firmer, and then they'll start feeling softer after you nurse. They might feel heavy, then they feel softer. Nursing does make you very sleepy, as it does the baby. That's a hormonal-driven thing. You may feel thirsty, and it's really important that your nipple comes out of the baby's mouth looking like it did when it went in. Maybe a little longer, but you don't want it to look like, you know, like a tube of lipstick that looks like that. You don't want it to look like that. You want it to come out, and that means that your baby's far back enough on that breast tissue. It's not nipple feeding, it's truly breastfeeding. You want them on that dark part, the areola. So really, the thing about knowing that you're making enough milk is that you're taking it out. It's like an ice machine. You take it out, you make it back. You take it out, you make it back. So if you take it out frequently, you're going to make it back. Most babies don't take out as much milk as you make. You make more milk than your babies need. I think statistically they say babies take about 67% of what you make. So you make plenty of milk. It's just a matter of teaching the baby how to get on there and take it out. So you want to feed the baby every 1 to 3 hours during the day. You're shooting for 8 to 12 feeds in 24 hours. You want to start them on one side and nurse them for about 15 to 20 minutes and keep them sucking that entire time by, we call it pestering them, by just messing with them. Babies nurse for comfort, and so if they get real comfortable next to their mom, they start nodding off. So you want to mess with them so they keep going. And this really applies to that first week or two. Some moms will start to notice that their baby's satisfied with just one breast. and that's okay. And then you can offer the next breast at the next feed. But you want it in the early days, be sure to offer both sides. So any questions about that? So there you have your 8 to 12 feeds every 24 hours, and that would be typical for those first weeks. And some babies will do something we call cluster feeding. They'll eat, and then an hour later it seems like they want to eat again, and then they might go 3 hours. But when you think about it, we kind of do that too. Sometimes we'll eat, and then we're just going to eat again, and then we go a little longer. Does anybody do that, or is it just me? Kind of typical. So that we call that cluster feeding, and you'll typically see it in the evenings. Some babies will feed longer on the first breast and be happy about it. But you really need to wake up your baby in the daytime. That's one thing that I always impress upon parents, because you want your nights back. So if you're getting those 8 to 12 feeds in the daytime, more power to you. That's great. And moms usually will notice that, they'll call us and say, well, the baby's eating about every 2 hours during the day. We'll say, what are they doing at night? Oh, they're sleeping great at night. We're like, that's a pretty good scenario. Instead of getting 4 feeds in at night and 4 feeds in the daytime. But remember, your baby's going to be doubling their birth weight within 4 or 5 months. That's a lot of eating. Imagine if you had to double your weight on milk in 4 months. I mean, that's a lot of eating. So that's why you're feeding them so frequently. Does anybody know how big their tummies are? How big your baby's tummy is going to be at birth? Anybody want to venture a guess? Marble. Yeah, it's the size of a marble when they're born. So it's really tiny. So we encourage you to at first, in those first few days, you want to have as little stimulation, overstimulation to your baby as possible. You're not wanting them to be held by 40,000 different people, and you don't really want lots of different things going in their mouth. So we encourage you to mainly, if you can, just have your breast going in your baby's mouth. That way they can learn how to remove milk the most efficiently. When they suck on a pacifier, they do suck differently on a pacifier. For one thing, they only open up about this wide to take a pacifier, and they move their tongue in the opposite direction than they do on the breast to remove milk. So we encourage you to find other methods of calming your baby, and pretty soon you'll have a whole